Hey folks, Christy here. Come on in. We need to talk about this one. We'll wait for a few minutes, let people come in and find the group. It's been really crazy about this case, hasn't it? Just within the last 24 hours, it's been crazy. But we'll wait for a few minutes. We'll let some others come in if they're going to join us. This was kind of at the last moment. So much has been happening. I wanted to talk to y'all about it and catch everybody updated. Been posting about it a lot. I have been watching JLR Investigates Live, I think is what it's called. He's on scene everywhere. Just really great YouTuber. I've been following him today. He is at Nancy's house right now, and there's stuff going on. He's just interviewing neighbors right now, getting their opinions of things. Boy, people are not happy with the sheriff. Not happy. He was at a basketball game last night, and I guess people don't think he should have been. He should have been there. I have a feeling that probably FBI told him to go away, and he went to a basketball game. He needed a break. I don't know. Hello, Georgina. Thank you for joining us. We'll see if anybody else is going to come along. Is today the Super Bowl? Is that? You can tell I don't cover. I don't not really interested in that anymore. Used to be until all the BS came in. But today's not the Super Bowl, is it? No, that's next week on Valentine's Day or around there, I think. All right, let's get started. Let's do this because we need to talk about this. So I'm telling you, the more the information comes out, the less it looks like just a simple, ransom. Yeah, he has a life besides his job. I agree. I agree. That's how I feel. The sheriff could go away and decompress for a minute and let the FBI do their job. Well, Nancy is 84 years old, and the report says she's mentally sharp, but she does have limited mobility and she needs daily medication. She's not someone who just wanders off. We know that now. That was the first thing that stood out for me was, did she go off? That's a big area, flat area, that you could wander off and get lost out there in the desert. Um, okay, so let's talk about the day that Nancy vanished. So Saturday started off completely normal. Around 5:30 p.m., Nancy took an Uber over to the family member's home for dinner and games. Now we know that that was the daughter and son-in-law, and they played games, had family time. Nothing unusual was reported. Later that night, the time was 9:48. Her family drops her back off at home. The garage door opens, and at 9:50, the garage door closes. Now, hold on here. I got my... Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. What'd I do? I just messed everything up. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Bear with me. All right. We have at 9:50, the garage door closes. Now, they enter and exit through the garage doors. They don't, she does not, and the family does not go through the front door. They enter through the garage. So that's why that's important at 9:50. That's the last confirmed movement and moment Nancy is known to be safe. Now this is where things start getting very uncomfortable, because in the night at 1:47 in the morning, her doorbell camera disconnects. It didn't glitch, it disconnects, like on purpose. Somebody disconnected it. That was at 1:47. At 2:12, the system does detect a person on camera, but there's no video because, listen to this, she didn't have a subscription to her security system. And I think that I don't think, but I've heard it was reported, it was only $100 a year. But she didn't have, no, come on, somebody had to know that, right? Wouldn't you think? Somebody close to her would be knowing that. I don't know, so that, blows my mind. I mean, especially, if she's living there all by herself and out in the country, and you've seen online or on your TV what that neighborhood looks like, because where it's at, they have an ordinance where the lights have to be, dim because of the skyline. I mean, yeah, it's a big deal out there in Arizona that how much light you can have. There's no street lights around her in that neighborhood. No street light. It's pitch black at night. I just can't believe they wouldn't have for her. Especially she had some health issues, Well, a person was detected outside her home, but like I said, there's no footage. And then at 2:28 a.m., Nancy's pacemaker disconnects from the app on her phone. Now, when I heard that detail, it made my stomach drop a little bit. What about yours? I kind of like, whoa, wait a minute. What does that mean? We did talk about what a pacemaker, what that would mean and not mean. I posted that in our group. I went into detail. I have a graphic that illustration you guys can look at if you want. It discusses what probably happened and what it is and what it does do. It's very interesting. It really is. Now, there was 3 technology disruptions right there within 41 minutes. That's not normal. That's coincidence. Let's talk about that 41 minutes. What is that about? What were they doing for 41 minutes? It doesn't make sense. Where you're a kidnapper and you want millions of dollars, I would think you're in and out. You don't want to hang around the house unless you're comfortable with being there, unless you knew you wasn't going to get caught. What would you be doing for 41 minutes, though, with her being there? Was she awake all, I don't know. I don't know. Something was happening. What bothers me is the cameras disconnecting. Again, that had to be, I think, inside job. All right, let's go to Sunday morning. Because late Sunday morning, Nancy doesn't show up for church, which is completely out of character for her. Let's talk about that a minute, because I found out that Nancy hasn't physically been to church since before COVID. When COVID hit, she stopped going. And I'm trying to find out, I haven't heard yet, how her family was reached out, somebody connected to them from church. They noticed that Nancy didn't show up, is the language that they're reporting out there. So it had to be like she showed up live or she checked in with somebody. But somebody from church, this is how it went, contacted the family, and then the family went at 11:56 a.m. The family goes to check on her, and she's gone. She's not there. At 12:03, 911 is called, and by 12:15, deputies arrive on the scene. And then from that moment forward, that the home right there, it starts being treated like a crime scene. Investigators, the sheriff, which I'm not real impressed with him. Bless his job. I swear he just, bless his heart, I swear he just acts and looks like he's overwhelmed. He's out of his elements. And that's okay, you know. I mean, he's trying, he's struggling, big time, he's struggling. But he's there. But he's messed up some things, and he's admitted that at the last press conference, that he made mistakes, he misspoke several things. So we have to watch, because he said that she didn't leave, I think his first words was she didn't leave her bed on her own. And now he's saying, well, she didn't leave her home, and it was treated like a crime scene. Now remember, the back door was open. And he said that, you know, they shut down right there in that press conference, that she was not confused, and her cognitive mind was good. And Nancy was alert. So this was being taken very seriously at the very beginning. Okay. Now the case heats up. Because listen to this. Blood was reportedly found on the front porch, and DNA confirmed it did belong to Nancy. Remember, I posted that in the Facebook group, pictures, the blood, and all that. But remember, there was also a glass vase. It looked like green glass vase, because there was green glass there with blood. A lot of us think that she had picked that up and cut herself, dropped it and cut herself. I don't know. That's just my theory. Because it was her blood. Because there was a white van that was in the neighborhood earlier, and somebody said that it was a florist van. So that kind of, I don't know, that kind of jives right there. It makes sense to me. I guess it's a good, hopeful thing to hold on to. Excuse me. Now that the FBI's involved, it was a $2,500 reward, and the FBI got involved, and it went up to a $50,000 reward. There was the first ransom note went out to 3 local stations, TV stations, and TMZ. And of course, we got more information from TMZ than anybody. And they did spill a lot, and that's when the family, I think, started taking this ransom kidnapping thing seriously, because TMZ was revealing a lot more to us, and it sounded like, yeah, it was legit to me. And what about the man that was arrested? Did you hear about that? I reported that on the Facebook group too. That I don't have his name in front of me, but he sent. Now listen to this. This just frustrated me. It kind of, I thought, how stupid. He sent an email to the family, to the Nancy's other daughter, not Savannah, the other one, and demanded bitcoins or money, or ransom, and he used his own Gmail account, his own email account, and boy, they busted him in a New York minute. So he's arrested, but he's not connected. They know that. Some people just want the attention, the money. It's sick. We see it. It's sick, but it happens. But the real focus needs to stay on Nancy and finding Nancy and bringing Nancy home. The latest developments was the video camera on the roof. That happened yesterday. Scrambling was happening right after the second ransom note was released. Things started getting hot and happening on Nancy's property. They brought a ladder in, put it up on top, got up on top of the roof, and there was a camera that was up there. But you know what? Now this is how my mind thinks. Okay, did they really, which it does, would not surprise me if they had missed that one. Because I'm hearing that the neighbor saw it with a drone shot being on TV or internet or something. She saw it and she went to the police and told them. That's what I hear. Not confirmed, not verified, but the woman said it. She admitted it. So what I'm thinking, what if the kidnappers put that up there? They could keep track of what's going on. Just a thought. Just kind of where my wandering mind went. And also, late last night, Nancy's car was towed. Why would that be? What is that? Would be the seventh day? The seventh day, and the crime scene had already been released once. Released. I mean, that Brian from used to be with News Nation. He was right up. He's the one that took the pictures for us with the blood and the glass from the front doorstep. He was right there. The crime scene was compromised. But that's what the sheriff did. He released the crime scene. And then when FBI got involved, whoa, they came back and there was a bunch of them and a bunch of yellow police tape going up and around. Nobody was getting in. But they towed her car out last night after 7 days. I think the FBI, honestly, my opinion of that is the FBI is just doing their job. They're, once again, dotting their I's and crossing their T's, how it should have been done. Let's see. Oh, also, the other update yesterday afternoon, was investigators pulled surveillance footage from a Circle K about a half a mile from Nancy's home. They're looking at it now, and they do say they have a vehicle of interest. Now, several of the YouTubers that I follow, they have went and tried to get the surveillance or talk to them about the surveillance, and workers and the manager told everybody, hush, don't talk about it. So, but they did get surveillance footage. They did get that. So, police towed the SUV from a property. They removed the wire device from the roof, possibly a camera. I'm being told it was a camera. And then they returned to the house again after, we're guessing, new leads. Because when investigators come back to the scene, something made them come back. Made them want to come back, made them want to have a good look. Now, I told you guys about the suspicious van. They do say they think it was a florist. They cleared the Uber driver. Let's see, what is anything else? Trying to think. I just was watching, like I told you, JLR Investigates before I came on. And I was trying to hear his updates. They're back at Nancy's house today. Oh, yes, one huge update. There was a lid. What am I trying to say? Okay, you're in New York. You're walking. You have those big lids on the street corner. Like a metal lid going down that hole. That's what is in the backyard. They're looking in that, like a well. That's what I want to say. Something like a well that has a big metal lid over it, and they lifted it up and they're looking down in there and they're They're very interested in that. They had luminol. They were doing luminol both in Nancy's and in Nancy's daughter's house. Now, let's talk about the last update that I know for sure that happened, and that's last night. And we're talking about the ransom. That really gave me goosebumps. Let me see. The first video, if you guys remember, the first video was about all three of them, the brother and the two sisters, together, and they're talking to the kidnappers and verifying that, okay, we believe this is true now. We understand what's going on. We want proof of life, of course. And with AI, you know how that is. You can't tell these days. I mean, we just had that poor Ohio grandpa that shot the Uber driver because he was getting AI messages and voices, and he thought she was coming to hurt and kill him and his family. And he shot her, and he got convicted of it. So, Savannah and the family was saying, give us proof. We need real proof, and we'll work with you. But come on, don't take us as fools. I understand that. Guys, you can understand that because they was asking for $1 million in Bitcoin. Yeah, that's a lot. You have to know. You have to see who and what you're playing with here. I don't blame them a bit. So, the second video was the son himself, just by himself, looking into the camera, just a few short sentences. I'm speaking for the family. He says, please give her mom back. We're willing. And I'll finish. Please give her mom back. We're willing, to do whatever you want. Because they didn't have any way to contact these guys back. The only way they could contact was talking through the internet. And it was exactly like a minute after 5 o'clock. And see, for my reporting, I heard that there was a first deadline that was yesterday, if I'm thinking right. Yesterday, the first deadline. No, it was the day before yesterday. This is Sunday. It was Friday. The first deadline was Friday. And that's at 5 o'clock. That was the first deadline. Thursday or Friday. My bad. I apologize. Some reporting, huh? So, that deadline came and went. And this brother said at 5 o'clock, okay, we're sorry, what's going on, da da da. And then they heard nothing. And then last night, Savannah, we heard that there was a second note that had come to just one news station this time. It was from a different IP address, but from the same, I don't know, server, I think they said, but they couldn't track the IP address. But what it was whatever blocked the IP address was they were using the same. That's what it was. They were using the same software or whatever. So Savannah and her family goes on her Instagram again, and oh, the look. I posted it on our group, of course. I wish I could share. I'm going to do that somehow with you guys. You can look at my screen like they do on YouTube and see what I'm talking about. One day we'll do that. For now, I'll explain it to you. It was heartbreaking. Their faces spoke volumes. It told everything. They didn't even really have to speak any. You just looked at every single one of their faces, especially Savannah, since we know her so much from Today's Show, and she's such a happy, and this is genuine with her, genuine. She's happy and a happy soul and a spirit, and just that's what we see from her all the time, a happy face and joyful. And this was, I didn't recognize her at first. I really didn't. And yeah, not good. And she was, she said, "We got your message. We understand. Now please return our mom to us so we can celebrate with her." That would bring, the only thing that would bring us peace, and we will pay. That's what they said. That's what she said. And everybody was crying and everybody was downhearted. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, that did not sound hopeful. They didn't look hopeful. They didn't sound hopeful. Their faces wasn't hopeful like the first video. And again, it could be me, but I don't think that their mother is still with us. I just have a feeling. And I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping I'm wrong. Just the wording, though. Excuse me, I'll get a drink. Just the wording. To celebrate with her. To me, it was celebrate, a life. And we say that now when we are at funerals and we hold funerals. It's the celebration of life. Um, that's the only thing that will give us peace. I just, to me, what do you think? Just to me, it sounded so one-sided, so final. So sad. So sad. Now, if you guys have heard the media, especially if you follow or know of Ashley Banfield, she was on News Nation. She now has her own podcast, Drop Dead Serious. Look her up. Go watch her. She's wonderful. She has a source, and she's been saying this from day one. She has an inside source, and she says it's very good, and she's standing by it, who told Miss Ashley that their main person of interest, suspect, is what she actually used. We use person of interest. She said suspect. Their main suspect that they're looking at is the son-in-law. And I cannot pronounce his name, so I'm not even going to try. The son-in-law. That's what I'm going to say. Now, the sheriff completely, denied there is no persons of interest. They are not looking at one person. But Ashley, she got bombarded with a lot of hate mail. Yeah, a lot of people didn't like that. And she stands by it to this day. She said, "Stand with me because I stand by what I say." She said, "I'm saying that an inside source said that the son-in-law is who they're looking at, and they were at the house again. This is for the second time they were at the second daughter's house. They took pictures. They took luminol. They took things last night. They took a big old a paper bag. So yeah, they're looking. And I mean, they should be looking, right? They really should. They look everybody. And he's not been on the scene since day one. But I'm sure, the FBI and all of them is telling him, probably, and the family's telling him just to stay back, stay out of it. So, this is where the case stands right now as we're talking. I just looked at JLR Investigates, and he's still shooting from the same position. The only thing, like I told you, was in the backyard. They were looking at, it looked like a manhole. That's the word I was trying to say, folks. Manhole. It looks like a manhole cover, and I'm sure it's probably maybe some kind of well or something. They really were interested in that. The FBI, we know now, is involved. There is a $50,000 reward. The home is considered a crime scene. The blood was confirmed to be Nancy's on the front porch. There has been vehicles examined. All the vehicles has been examined. Hers, was an SUV there, and then her daughter's car, her other daughter's car. All this done and still no Nancy. But somebody out there knows exactly what happened. Because we always say this in our cases, right? People don't just up and vanish like that. Something happened. Somebody knows what's happened. A woman's missing and a family's waiting. All right, folks, I'm going to wind this up now. But before I go, I want to say this. We may be a podcast here that's based out of Ohio, but stories like this, it just reminds us that distance doesn't matter, especially, when it comes to something like this, a human life. Everybody is touched by this. What's happening to this family is something no one is ever prepared for. And it hits all of us a little differently. Some of us really feel this. We feel it in our soul, and others are just interested, but we're all very concerned. So today, guys, do me a favor. Hug your people a little tighter. Tell someone you love them. Make that call you've been putting off. Do it. Just do it. Check on that person that's crossed your mind lately. Because cases like this can be a hard reminder of how quickly a life can change and how important our people really are. Nancy's still missing and her family's still waiting. I said that. And we're going to continue following this case. And I'm going to bring you updates as they come. Folks, I want you to take care of yourself. Take care of each other. And be safe. Stay alert. And never stop seeking justice.